Here's a short one, but it's on a case study that somebody did where they're doing the same type of thing that I and others have done before, where you can find things repeating through the Bible. Like Moses does the same mode of things that he does as that Jesus does. Like if you read Matthew, um, then you go to Egypt, and then Herod massacres the boys, Pharaoh massacres the boys. He says all the men who are dead who sought your life. He says the same thing there, Egypt to Israel. Then there's a water encounter. Then they spend time in the wilderness. One's 40 years, one's 40 days. Later, they're tempted by bread. Do not tempt God. Worship only God. Satan on the mountain, and so on. And just weird connections like that. And what he found here was something that's telltale of the Greek intervention that I've been telling y'all about. And here in the Bible, you know how everybody's names actually have meanings to them, and some of them are quite strange, as if a lady would name her baby that came out of her, he who avenges, at the moment of birth. If anybody's ever had a child, tell me that this type of thing would come out your freaking mouth. I know the name, you know, Isaac sounds great, but they say it actually means laughs, and they say it means this, and they say it means that. Jacob means he outwits, so he outsmarts people. He's a shyster, and things like this. And so, Moses means who's rescued, or rescued from water, things like that. Well, what they've done with this here clip is show you that it looks like they were supposed to have Moses' line run all the way down to Jesus, okay? And that would be his holy line. And it was supposed to have been implied somehow. That, people say, well, his line to David goes all the way down to Joseph. Well, of course, if you're going to say he was born by God and it was a virgin birth, then Joseph didn't have anything to do with it. Oh, snap. Therefore, he couldn't be from the line of David, right? So then they've tried to trace Mary, his mother, all the way back up in and put her at a different line, and then say, haha, see, it wasn't the line of David, it was the line of someone else. But it looks like the truth of the matter was, and it was somewhat incomplete and still is in the literature, but I'm guessing you were supposed to find this eventually and go, aha, and 2,000 years later we're ahaing. But Abraham was the glorious father, or father of multitude. And then you have Isaac and Jacob, and you run through the line right there. And so let's look at what it says. It says, a glorious father, or the father of a multitude. He laughs as he outwits, I'm guessing his enemy, yes, and becomes Israel. A mighty prince sees God, is what they say there too, but also it's also a warrior of God. Okay, it's God's warrior. And here the mighty prince sees, but no, Israel is actually a warrior of El. El is the god of the patriarchs through the whole thing. El, Israel, was actually the ancient Phoenician word for the planet Saturn. So they're Saturn worshippers. Look at some of my other videos. You'll find that all of this comes from that. So a mighty prince sees God becomes actually just a warrior of God, then joins himself to, Levi is meant to mean join, okay, an assembly, Amram, a glorious people. And the people of Amram are not Hebrews at all, and they join themselves to assembly of those glorious people. Moses, whom he rescued, Gershom, strangers in a strange land, where yes, they weren't from here at all. In fact, going back from Abraham, they were strangers in a strange land. And they keep referring to this strangers idea in the Bible. In fact, a telltale thing is that, at Sinai, he says, you aren't going to, oppress people because you were oppressed in Egypt. And then later, there's 3 times where they say, don't oppress strangers because you were a stranger in Egypt. And stranger in Egypt, well, you're a slave to them. That's a totally different concept than you were a slave. You were a stranger. You were a visitor, stranger in a strange land. Huh? You were just visiting. Oh, so you weren't necessarily under slavery. You want to act like it's a visitation now. Anyhow, and then Shabuel, the last of that line there, shows out to be captives delivered by God. And Shabuel, well, El is God. He's Saturn. Saturn is El, the original name of El. His son was Baal. And these people in the Romans are looked at as being Saturn, and Saturn's son was Zeus. So there you go. And so this is all under that, and they're all Canaanite gods. Well, where are the Levites from? Because they seem to run everything. Well, the Levites are priests of the Levant, and they are actually priests of El that go around and monitor and control things, and apparently there are people put in, and they're the Levites. And by the way, the Levites are the direct contact with God. They're the ones that stay in the temple. All the other people are just people, and they're the ones that tell you what God says and doesn't say. They go on little trips. They get messages from God. People come as messengers and everything. And that's kind of strange because they're Levant people. So they're not even actually Hebrews in reality. They're Levitical priests. Well, they're Levant people. That's where they come from. And you find that when you look into the Levant priestship, they were Greeks. They were the people that had the writing and the knowledge and doing things, and they were helping to control the people that are down below them. And it goes way back to before Alexander the Great. It goes to way before that. So apparently they had control over these people the whole time. But I just wanted to show you that here's a connection where it tells you these 6 names branch off into Moses' line, not Christ, but clearly they join the main name's code is evident by their perfect fit with the whole. And they join at Levi, which means Joey. So the code still reads well without these 6. Well, yeah, the other part of the code that he's looking at through here, and that's in one of my videos, does read well through it. But this also shows that telltale thing, and how, again, in the middle of this one, as well as the other 3, you've got that Levite thing. And, well, you've got to use it for the word join. Well, funny how the Levites are joining, or the people are joining to the Levites, and they're the priests that are telling them everything. You don't really think that shepherds have prose or anything. Back at this time nobody has writing, so apparently the people that are keeping up with it, writing and everything, are the Levites. No one gets to touch this literature. You can't even go into the temple's holies of holies, that. Well, why not? Well, because in there's a couple of Greek guys sitting around writing shit. Not actually, but in a way, in a way, that's exactly what's going on. Anyhow, look into the other ones. Y'all enjoy. Like it if you like this. Appreciate you.